This is going to be Revit video 2, showing you how to use basic markups on floor plans and site plans for logistics purposes. And typically all the tools that we're going to want to use here are going to be in the Annotate tab. Go to the Annotate tab, you can pull dimensions, you can figure out radii, you can put coordinates on certain objects, but what we want to look at is detail line and region and text. So start with detail line. All right, so there are a couple default types of lines in Revit. There's a couple ways you can choose them. You can choose them up in this top bar. They're all super basic, and I'll show you what they look like in a minute. Or you can also choose them in this little tab over here. And there's different types of uses of lines. Right now I have just regular lines selected. It's just a polyline. You just click as many times as you want to create a shape or whatever. You have rectangles. You have polygons. You could change the different types of sides. You can throw offsets on it. So there's a whole bunch of different options that you can do here. So play around with those a little bit. I'm not going to go through every single one of them. This pick line tool is going to be very helpful though. For instance, if I want to trace over a grid line, all I got to do is hover over another object and I can just click on it and it'll trace over that line. So that's the basics of the line tool. There's a couple of extra basic Revit modeling fundamentals up here. This is always going to be under the Modify tab. It works for floors, for walls, for ceilings, for most things that you use in Revit. It's going to have some pretty similar types of functions and tools that you'll want to become familiar with. I'm not going to go over too many of them, at least not in this video, but that's the basics of the line tool itself. Now, I want to get into the different types of lines. So I'm going to click Escape a couple times, usually 2 times will do it. If I select a line, now I can change the type of line it is by using, again, the same ribbons that we were looking at earlier. So there's, as you can see, these are the different default types. You have dashed, you have colored, you have, I think most of them are actually thin lines in this case. As you can see, this one's green. So I'll show you how to create new different types of lines. Go ahead and go up to the Manage tab. And if you click on Additional Settings, there you will see Line Styles. And as you can see, here are all of the default Revit lines. And you can either edit the existing defaults, or what I prefer is just create a new. I always like to start with an underscore just so it goes to the top of the list. And I usually start with the line thickness that I'm going to set it to. So I'm just going to call this O2-pink. I love using hot pink for all my colors. Leave it as subcategory of lines, that's okay. All right, now what we'll want to do is, because I made it O2 thickness, I'm just going to change that to 2. And then I'm just going to change this to pink. All right, now I'm going to say okay. Now if we go back to lines, again, that's going to be Annotate and Detail line, or on your keyboard you can just click DL. And now, as you can see, O2 pink is available. So there we go. All right, there's the basics of creating lines. I'll create one more just as an example, because there's plenty of different types of lines you can use, different colors, different thicknesses, and different patterns. So just do one more. All right, create new. I thought the underscore would put it at the top, but apparently it puts it at the bottom. So, all right, I'm going to call this one 08, a thickness of 8, and we will make it cyan. So again, now I want to give this a thickness of 8. Make it that cyan color. And then I'm going to actually rename it because I want to make this a dash. So cyan dash. And then that line pattern, like I was saying earlier, you can actually change the types of patterns. I'm just going to stick with the default dash. Click OK. And now, again, DL on your keyboard. Change our type to cyan dash. And there you go. Now we have a thick line because, again, I made it a thickness of 8. And it's cyan and it's dashed.